We'd like to call the meeting to order and welcome everyone.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the schedule of meetings adopted at the organizational meeting held on January 6, 2025. Adequate notice of this regular meeting of the Kenilworth Board of Education has been provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, the local source, on January 16, 2025. A copy has been filed with the Kenilworth Borough Clerk, posted in the board office, the Kenilworth Borough Hall, Brearley and Harding Schools, as is provided below.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Ganella, can we please have roll call?
Yes. Biner.
Here.
Krikoli.
Here.
David.
Here.
Ferrara.
Here.
Haberther.
Here.
Perdina.
Here.
Ladati. Panici.
Here.
Zimmerman.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have the receiving of the BOE minutes and committee meeting notes of the secretary, the regular BOE minute notes of the secretary from January 6, 2025, and January 13, 2025, and the committee meeting notes from the TAB committee on 1/9/25, and the Finance, Facilities, and Negotiations Committee on 2/5/25. May I have a motion to accept the receiving of the minutes and committee notes? Okay. Motion made by Mr. Ferrera, seconded by Dr. Concoli. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Ganella, do we have any public correspondence?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll now have the superintendent's report and presentations. Superintendent Davies.
Thank you, Dr. Panici. At this time, I'd like to call Nelsy Sully, our student rep, to the microphone for the student report.
Good evening and happy early Valentine's Day. I'm Nancy Sully and I'm excited to be here as David Burley, Board of Education representative, to talk about our recent and upcoming events. Last week, Mr. Perillo, Mr. Luciani, and the counselors had grade level meetings to discuss their scheduling options for next school year. These PowerPoints will be shared with parents later this week. Burley Middle School had their Winter Spirit Week. Students and teachers wore sports-related clothing and jerseys in preparations for the Super Bowl on Sunday. Go Eagles! On January 23rd, students were inducted into the Spanish National Honor Society. It was a wonderful event hosted by Ms. Quintero, Ms. Navarro, and Ms. Morales. Midterm exams took place on January 28th to January 31st. All Burley students were on an early release schedule. The high school counselors ran a junior parent meeting on January 16th to help students prepare for their senior year and beyond. Coming up, we have the DBHS volleyball tournament on February 26th. Teams are being formed as we speak. On February 28th, the Black Culture Society will be hosting a Black Celebration event, periods 8 and 9 in the cafeteria. Thanks for your time and support. I look forward to speaking again in March. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Nelsy. Any questions for Nelsy before she leaves? Okay. Thank you so much, Nelsy. I'm also eager tonight to present our robotics team who have joined us here tonight to show off to the board and to the public what they're all about, also how their robot works and all the great things that our robotics program has done over the last 5 years since its inception. This year, I'd like to introduce Mr. Anthony Rossetti, who is our robotics team advisor. This is his first year doing that, and again, the Robotics Club was started 5 years ago, and we've been able to keep it going strong, and the team continues to grow and compete. So, Mr. Rossetti, thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Anthony Rossetti. I'm the advisor for the robotics team, and the team is here. We're going to do a little bit of a demo for you today. We did want to start by showing a short video that we put together to try to give you a better overview of what robotics is about. I know that I didn't really understand the full extent of what the robotics team did until I became the advisor. So, like I said, I think it's about to be shown up there. Okay, so we have here a video. Just has some photos. This is our team. This is our robot in the STEM lab. The team working on the robot. The students actually build the robot. This is the robot. The team actually working on the autonomous programming of the robot. We weren't able to do this for you tonight, so we thought we would show you some of this on the video. This robot is doing what you see on the screen. It's doing that through programming only. So nobody's driving the robot right now. That's pure programming, and the students do that. This is a photo of our last meet. I think we were in Jersey City for that, right? Is that Jersey City? And you just see some photos here of the students preparing the robot for competition. And part of this involves having the robot inspected by referees. You'll see that in a moment. But at this point, the students, like I said, they're just putting together the robot to prepare it for competition. This is Mr. Carr. He's our mentor from FTC. Without him, none of this would be possible. Here's our team getting ready to show their robot to the referee. There we are, being inspected, making sure that we're not, doing anything we're not supposed to. This is a meeting for drivers from all the different schools and teams that are showing up. We thought this was a good thing to show you so you see how many schools and how many teams are involved. Here we are in our final prep before competition with other teams. And again, this is autonomous. You can score points doing autonomous tasks where the robot does things by itself, and then you could also score points where the students actually drive the robot, and you'll see that in a minute. And we're going to actually do some of this for you live here today. This is just an example of what it's like to actually watch one of these meets. It's like a boxing match. It's pretty exciting. This is just some of the other teams being announced before us. And we do compete with a lot of local teams.
Joining them on the Blue Alliance out of Kenilworth, New Jersey, Representative David Brearley Middle High School, team number 19227, the Brearley Bots.
So here we are. We're on the left screen, see the red arrow? That's our robot there actually competing.
And while you were looking, the Brearley Bots just put 2 samples in that top basket and going for number 3. That is a strong autonomous showing by the Brearley Bots.
Driver.
This is obviously cut short. This is how they announce who won. We actually won this match. We compete with another team against 2 other teams. They randomly choose pairs to compete against each other.
And very high score, 125 to 120.
It's pretty cool. It's not exactly battle bots, but it has that feel about it when you're there.
3, 2, 1.
And again, we're in the bottom right side of here. The bottom right side here in this video, the team is actually driving the robot.
Their first specimen.
And we actually have a very good driving team, right? Am I right about that? We have a very good driving team. A lot of the other teams respect our driving skills. I'm not gonna lie, I get very excited when I'm there and I watch this. I'm getting excited just watching it now. I get very competitive.
So you're saying they get score points for autonomous and for driving?
Correct.
What do you get more points for, the autonomous or the driving?
It depends what you do, right? I think basically autonomous would be worth more points.
Yeah, autonomous gets scored again. So they do what you did in autonomous, and then they look at it again at the end of the match. So you don't get a double.
Bonus points?
It changes every year. Some years you get extra points for autonomous.
Can you just pause that for a second?
Yeah, sure.
I did just want to announce that we have a donor, a sponsor, Nest, right here in Kenilworth. They've agreed to sponsor us, and they made a sizable donation to the team. And we've already started implementing that donation, and we're going to be buying another robot and some other things that we need. So we'll now have 2 robots. More students will be able to actually work building the robot. Like I said, these students actually build the robot from parts. And now we'll have more resources, more students, and hopefully better robot. Press play again. And we have some other sponsors here on the next slide. Just wanted to give them all a shout out. These are all people who have either, this here is, if you want to go to our, we have a Facebook page. I think some of you follow it, but we have a Facebook page. We try to post what's happening. So that's just a QR code. Just back to the sponsors. Anything that we get from sponsors, we've had people in the community donate tools to us or other supplies that we need, or money, or someone donated us a tray of cookies that we could use for fundraising. So, and we really try to tap into the community where we can, and we're going to be doing some more, looking for sponsors. Without further ado, I think we should do a demo. Vade is gonna, I guess we're gonna lead the demo and do some talking for us.
So every year we compete in something called the First Tech Challenge. Every year there's a new challenge. This year's called Who's Compete. There's multiple parts. You can see the baskets that we kind of made an impromptu setup with. Those have different point values. The high baskets are worth 4. It's about 4 feet high. So we have this part that will show you that extends out. And then there's the chambers, the red and blue chambers that we clip something on. And then we get extra points for those. So we're gonna just drive around and show you a little bit of everything, just so you can see what we did.
And each year there's a different challenge. This challenge is basically supposed to be working in the ocean, of driving a robot to pick up specimens and collect things. And so every year there's a new challenge. This is the challenge we have this year. Every team that competes has this contraption on their home turf that they practice on.
So this is called a submersible. That is based on the most points in here. So we're gonna go down and we weren't able to get the full setup tonight, so it's a little hard. So there you go. So this is the first thing we're best at. So you go up, drop in here. It's about 8 points. One of the higher point values that we're really good at. There you go. Drop it. There you go. And the other part is the specimen, which we're gonna have to dig in to us on the wall here. And then multiple ways. It's a little bit harder without the wall. It latches on usually, so we usually have mats. It's hard without the surface, but this latches on with this. That's worth about 10 points. And we're just gonna go around. We have candies attached for each of you guys, so you guys can take the candies off and then you can collect the cards afterwards.
It's a good move. So is one of you driving it and one of you is working the arm?
Yeah, so I drive it. I'm going to
Okay. And you're doing the arm. Okay, cool. All right, cool.
With the autonomous arenas, are they like pre-programmed to, like, the width and the depth, how, and then where the other blocks are? That's how it knows, and you program it in.
Yeah.
So it's a 30-second period. We don't use detection this year. Some years we use cameras. Last year to do that, depends on the year, but we just have a perimeter code. Usually it's the same type of field this year, both sides. So use the same code, and for 30 seconds we're just gonna touch it.
Right.
Whatever the robot does.
And it knows where those bricks are, and that's why it goes to that spot to pick it up,
so they
or,
have set up points for it. They have tick marks.
yeah.
This year they don't. Last year everything would be in a different spot. But this year everything's kind of uniform, so it makes that time for us really easier.
That's funny. And what's the significance of 19227?
That's a league number, so there's a couple thousand active teams in SEC.
Oh, okay.
So that's just whenever you sign up.
Okay.
So does the robot get a name besides 19227 that you guys affectionately call it when you guys are alone in your lab? Some form of Billy?
We were talking about having a contest at the other students name the robot.
Name the
But
robot?
we haven't gotten there yet.
Feature. Wow. No, Star Trek. Feature.
A lot of this 3D printed or no?
This is us controlling it.
No, I'm saying is a lot of stuff 3D printed or is it?
3D printed.
or just like manufactured
We had a lot
by-
of 3D printed iterations of claws. So the presentation in this year was animated. There were white claws.
There you go.
But we decided to revert back to these. This is like soft iron metal, but we definitely have a lot of aspects of. We have a lot of 3D printed aspects, and it's good to have like be able to mess around with it because you know you just change it, small things. But yeah, so we like to utilize that as well.
And like true engineers, these guys are going to try stuff. They're going to 3D print a claw, try it, see which one works better. If it doesn't, we'll go back. This is an older claw that we had. So it's constant trial and error. And even this mechanism that we're using right now to drop the pieces is relatively new. A month ago, we didn't have this. So they're constantly changing it. Trying new things to, what works better, how can we score more points?
Yeah.
So we're actually waiting for some new parts to come in, and we're going to hopefully hang, right, Vade?
Yeah, so these bars you can hang on it. We had to switch our mechanism because before we had a lot shorter arm, we were able to hang on it. These slides are not strong enough for the elevator, but we are going to be switching something that will do that.
Well, a brand new robot's gonna cost probably $1,500. It's pretty quick. So any of the funds that we get, that's where most of it goes.
You say 1,500?
Sorry?
1,500 for a robot?
About. It depends what exactly you want to buy.
I got one.
So in the case of this robot, we have to actually, the students have to actually determine what they wanted to do.
What their priorities are?
What they wanted to do.
Yeah, she got one, didn't she?
Parts we need. Do we need,
Yeah, I think she got, you got one.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, she got one.
Okay. Faster but might be weaker.
Thank
Do we need a stronger but slower motor?
Right.
So it's a lot of, and some of these parts are very expensive. This slide that we have going, this was a pretty expensive part right here. So,
We need this gear as well.
which one?
The gear for the server.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely very expensive.
Could you make that robot shake hands, like with that claw thing with, one of the students? Cause I just thought of that when I saw that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Cause that would be, a neat kind of thing.
Yeah, we could 3D print like bigger claws of the wall on us. So yeah, you just close it off. Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. Yeah, we could do that. That's like how I was prepared for the same 3D printer.
I vaguely understand 3D, but if there wasn't 3D printing, where would you get all of those metal parts?
Buy them from specific vendors that sell parts that are acceptable for use, that are approved by this league that we compete in. Actually, nothing on that robot right now is 3D printed, but those are all parts from vendors that provide those approved parts.
All right,
Well, they want to keep.
We have to move forward, so we can talk more during new business if you have any
Yep.
questions. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we just have some certificates we'd like to give the kids, if that's okay.
Sure.
These are just some recognition of competing this year in the First Tech Challenge. We have Matt Celestin, who's not here tonight. Rafaela Aguirre Pereira. Teacher Ferreira, who's not here tonight. Sofia Goncalves. Melody Ortega Medrano, she's not here tonight either. Jim Duran Palacios, he's not here either. Aria Shaw, he's here. Vade Shaw. Sasha Shestak. And thank you very much.
We can just do a picture of the group before
Yep.
you leave, and we also have a little takeaway for you as well. But this is while Mr. Ganella is getting ready for the photo. It's so impressive to see the hard work. I know FTC is all about robotics, but it's also about the fundraising behind the robotics. It's about the presentation to public. So even doing this presentation, I know, is a big piece of FTC because they're working to train students not just to be robotics engineers or coders, but to also be who have public speaking skills and social skills to go out into the world and advocate for robots. So appreciate the hard work that you do as a group. It's really cool to see, and you're making us proud as a district. So thank you for your work. Appreciate it. And Mr. Rossetti, thank you. So we can do a photo
We'll do a
with
photo
the background.
And then we'll take this out of your way real quick.
Sounds good.
Andy, I felt so inadequate.
Well, the robot did do it with a little more pizzazz.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was like, that was slick.
Yeah, definitely hold the robot in the photo.
All right, stay there a second while your parents get the picture. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. One last question. What does the rest of the season look like for the robotics team?
Hi, Mr. Shaw.
States. Okay. Excellent.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Well done. Yes.
Great job. Great job.
Very impressed. Way to go. Best of luck going forward.
You need the blocks. They said we got the candy, but they need the blocks back.
So that field that they're carrying off right now in our STEM lab, it's probably about 4 times the size of what they typically practice on. Quick cleanup too.
The real innovation if they could find a way to have it serve drinks in the summertime.
For sure. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Ganella, who's going to report on our annual audit as well as our referendum projects.
Yes, this evening we have Mr. Holsart, our auditor, who will give a presentation. Mr. Holsart, if you could take the podium and give us a little update on your findings and what we have to look forward to this year.
Good evening. So just briefly, I want to just touch on a few points tonight. First and most importantly, the results of our audit were excellent. There's no findings in your report. There's nothing I need to bring to your attention. Mr. Ganella and his staff, the administration and the board are doing what we need to do to be successful in our financial reporting. So I'm always glad to come and report that to the board. Just going forward, our fund balance that we're allowed to maintain this year was $832,000. That's 2% basically of our budget. That's down from previous years where during the pandemic we were allowed to keep 4. Last year it went back to 2. Now we're back to 2 again. We also got a substantial amount of American Rescue Plan grants, which were also COVID related. Those are done now as well. So those revenue streams that we had that benefit of for a few years are going away. So things will get a little tighter as we move forward, but basically we're going back to where we were, say, 4 or 5 years ago before things got to that point. So things will be a little monitors that carefully. He's already had discussions with me, and so I think with his guidance and the board's input, we'll be fine to let some of the resources we did have in the past. Now, as we get into 24, 25, those are going to fall off. But other than that, I said everything's good. I still think our financial position is reasonable, and I'd be happy to take any questions that anyone have.
So, do you have any thoughts on the governor's budget, or what he's gonna do, or what the state's gonna do to our, because I mean, a big issue is our reduction in the monies we received last year.
Yeah, hopefully the governor is cognizant of the fact that, districts are losing money, they're already losing state aid, so hopefully he's got something in his budget that's gonna help restore some of the funding. Anything we can get at this point certainly would help.
Is there any future aids or anything of grants like that coming in the future or not?
We're always looking for grants. Most of the grants now are basically for special programs that we need for some of our students. The COVID was kind of a unique situation. I mean, it's really never happened before in most of our lifetime. So that was unprecedented. Even in our food service, they were giving us a lot of money that we're not going to have going forward. So while it was nice to have it, while we had it, it did help remote learning and offset some costs of some other programs that we needed. So it was helpful, but that's all. We're going to go back to normal operations like we were back in 2019 to 2020. So we just need to be cognizant that we've got to kind of watch the bottom line a little more than we had to in the past, because those resources are going away. Through no fault of the board, and this is not unique to Kenilworth, it's all over the state.
So any prediction, I know this is probably, I don't know if you could answer this, but on our fixed costs, like, I don't know, electric, gas, any thoughts on that going up, down, or staying the same? We're hoping it goes down, because our fixed costs are I don't know, could you talk about our fixed costs a little bit, if we're okay?
Yeah,
or if we're within...
your fixed costs probably are 80% of your budget. So before you even start to put your budget together, 80% of it's
much higher. Yeah, it's even higher.
Yeah, So you've got, there's not a whole lot of room to work with, but hopefully we get some nice surprises where maybe insurance premiums go down, or maybe we have some health benefit savings. Sometimes you get unexpected revenue streams. So Vince is always looking to take advantage of any of those programs for the district that he can, but it is limited. Sometimes we get a year where we get a break and maybe we don't need to spend what we thought we were going to spend in some particular areas, but then you also have areas that probably are going to be more than what we expected. So it's just constant watching it, monitoring it, and making the right decisions when we approach those situations.
So are we getting, I know Vince does a great job, are we missing anything that we should be getting money for, or that you saw from other districts that you do audits for, or?
Not really, no. We get our standard, No Child Left Behind funding, our IDEA funding. We take advantage of non-public monies if we can. But no, Vince is doing, we're doing everything here that most other districts that I audit across the state are doing. There's no district that's getting a lot of money because they're doing something differently. If they did, I'd be letting everyone know.
That was my question, basically. So, but okay, thank you so much.
No,
That's
you're
all
welcome.
I have.
You're welcome.
This is going to definitely, I've been saying this for over a year now, this is going to be a very challenging year. I know you've heard me use the term kick the can down the road, but somehow, I've used that for a couple of years now, but somehow we squeak it out. But last year's hit was really tough to overcome, because we're really, you talk about that balance between fixed and discretionary costs. It's getting so narrow that, I mean, we're fighting over pencils now. Do we buy this?
I know we've done that.
Or not? We get to that point, it's programs, it's staffing, and that's what we got close to last year, but then we got a little bit of relief from the state, but I don't know if we're going to get that relief again this year. So it's going to be challenging.
And we do go the committee does go through every single book and every pencil and every crayon that's ordered, and making sure everything is right. and that we actually needed, so. But thank you, that's all I have. I don't know if anybody else has anything.
Anyone else? Questions on what was sent? No auditor?
I know the report's like 135 pages, so I don't know if you guys had a chance to go through it. I spent the weekend doing it, so everything seems to be in order that I reviewed, so.
Yeah, if anybody subsequently has any questions, just let Vince know. He'll get a hold of me and I'll get answers to you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Holsart.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Gunn. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Take care.
You too.
Good seeing you.
See you next week.
Shift gears here. Okay. Right one. Okay, good evening, everyone. Just like to give you my monthly update on the projects associated with the referendum. The field should be wrapping up very soon. In the process of putting together the closeout documents, there is one punch list item that is being delayed due to weather. That's where the contractor comes back and re-grooms the field one more final time. So we get a nice grooming prior to after the winter season's over, and they professionally groom it, at which time they will officially turn it over, where we will continue with the grooming. The HVAC project also is in punch list and pending some review by the engineers. The closeout documents are being worked on, and training is pending scheduling. So we've been trying to get scheduling the training. Hopefully that will be soon. I'm actually in no rush because we don't take over. The warranty doesn't kick in until that's completed. So the longer we there, the longer the warranty is. But everything seems to be going well with that. We had some very, very cold weather, and everything seemed to be working pretty well. I appreciate the staff for their cooperation in fixing some of those kinks, but we seem to have the system balanced now. The addition project, the lobby entrance received its TCO, which is a temporary certificate of occupancy last week. And we're currently using the entrance in the morning as students enter. And it also hosted its first major event last week, which was a cheerleading competition. And I was able to visit that and see it in operation. It was very nice and got some compliments over the use of it. The Finance and Facility Committee was an opportunity to also tour it the other day. And if you have an opportunity tonight on your way out, you could exit that way and take a look at it yourselves. The auditoriums, Pure Tech, which is our lighting and sound contractor, is in the process of installing lighting and sound in both auditoriums. Berea has received its new curtains, and hopefully Berea will be fully operational by March 1st and Harding operational by March 15th. Regarding the addition and the middle school and high school science wing, progress is also pulling along nicely. The roof's base coat has been installed. As regarding the field, Shoreland's plans to rake the fields as soon as it dries a bit from the recent snow, regardless of the air temperature. That's not one of those things where we have to worry about the air temperature. So the fields are ready for when the sod arrives. The sod manufacturer has assured us that we are the first on their list once the weather breaks and they start cutting the sod, which will hopefully be the first week of March. Once again, it is weather dependent. If that time frame holds, that will put us on schedule to have the fields ready for play in early April. Some other points in the addition, you'll see work constantly being done over there. And it's getting exciting that now you get to see exactly how things are going to be done. The stair tower is poured. You're starting to see brick being placed in there in addition to the concrete masonry block. So that's pretty exciting to see things working, going on there. Here are some pictures of the addition. First one is interior addition. The second one is an exterior, and the third way is the that's the elevator slab poured. And then you'll see some more additional hall. That's the hallway going down the I believe that's the first floor, the science wing. And then you'll see some of the electrical work that's being done, and then the third picture there looks like the Black Mariah, but it is the middle school. That's the addition. The back corner, you're basically standing almost in the corner of the baseball field looking towards Monroe on that. And here's Harding's auditorium. Quick sneak preview of that. Looking pretty sharp for a 100-year-old auditorium, 102-year-old auditorium, not bad. So that basically, oh, and then this is the lobby. I'm sorry, this is the lobby. So it's being used, it's working. You know, some things are, some of the materials like the facade and the metal paneling and the soffits are in production, long lead times on those. But we felt, you know what, why wait for that when we can operationally use it? And I think everyone is enjoying the use operationally in the morning. I think it's working well. Mr. Davies noted the other day that he felt that it even helped the flow a little bit in the morning. So that's good. So
Excuse me, where is this picture with the black building
this
stuff?
is in the parking lot. So you're looking at the parking lot. Yep. Okay. Regarding the overall projects, fields 96% done, HVAC 93%. Addition alterations, close to 40%. Auditorium seating is complete. The middle school science is they came out and did their field work, so they measured everything, and now it's going into production, as well as the high school science and art room are also all measured and going into production as well. And those hopefully will be on site sometime in June and installed into the addition. Any questions? Yes, sir.
About the baseball field,
Mhm.
do we have a plan B, like if the field's not ready for
We
like
do have a
Union County
plan
College
B.
or
We
somewhere like
do
that?
have a field in Union ready for use.
Okay.
Did we ask Mr. Miller to shift some of the games?
Not yet. But
Not yet,
yes,
okay.
Okay, so it's on, you got it covered.
Yes, we do.
So the second thing is with the new auditorium at Barrera, are you still gonna continue to rent that out, or I mean, lease it out for plays and all that
Yes.
stuff? And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know
Recitals.
we get indemnification agreements and
Uh-huh.
everything like that, but are we asking for more money up front? Like,
We have to take a look at the fees at some, because now it's a little more nice.
well, just more, it's more quality equipment, it's
Correct,
all new.
correct.
You know,
So,
we spent a lot of money, so we should
right.
get the right price back
Mhm.
for what they're using.
Yeah.
I'm
I
just
mean,
more
we
interested
do-
in something,
we
if they
do-
break something, they ruin a seat, that I
Right.
want the money back. That's
Right.
for
No,
sure.
we do, they do pay us a decent amount in security.
That's what I meant, yeah.
So now you have a better baseline, you know,
Yeah, everything, yeah.
you have a better baseline that everything is new, so they can't come in and say, well, you know, those initials carved in the back are AL, that was probably from 1970 something, you know, right? So, so they don't have that ability anymore, so, so now we have a fresh slate to work from, so
Okay,
I think.
that's why I just wanna make sure
yeah.
that we're covering all those bases.
yeah.
Thank you, that's all.
The revenue that we get from that is important, especially after what Mr. Holzart said and what I've been telling you. We need that revenue. We can't just say, ooh, it's too nice to not rent.
Understandable.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
When do you think the final contract will be paid off of all the referendum money? When are we looking at?
Well, don't forget, this is the first phase. Then we're gonna be looking at to see if we're gonna do anything over at Harding with the preschool. or anything else. So that probably wouldn't be until 27. Yeah.
Any of the board members, any questions for Mr. Ganella?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ganella. Just speaking of construction, a few other things. Know that we're in the midst of designing next year's school calendar, and I hope to have a final version ready for March BOE approval. The draft we designed has the students starting not the week like typical, but the week after Labor Day. This is to give our construction workers, the custodial crew, and our teachers time to prepare the very, very busy summer of remodeling and moving. So just know that about the school calendar.
When does that push the end of the school year to that?
The last day is slated for June 24th, according to that version. So it's not too bad. It's a little later than people like.
Labor Day is September.
It's an easier year to do that than other years, for sure. Also, speaking of our custodial and maintenance team, just a thank you for clearing the campus so we could run Thursday when we had a snowy, icy, slushy mess in the morning. It was a dicey decision. Number of schools around us closed, but we were open thanks to the hard work of our buildings and grounds crew that enabled us to hold school. Similarly, they were here over the weekend, making sure that school could open after the snow. Lots of little snows seem to be coming our way, so that crew is working hard to make sure that school runs and people, kids and staff are safe, so thank you. Also, just we're in the midst of budget season, as Mr. Ganella was intimating. The team is in the midst of presenting our budgets to the Finance and Facilities Committee. That continues tomorrow night. In the meantime, know that I met with the Harding faculty last week and the Brearley faculty this afternoon to present several topics. Construction updates, CUSAC process, our choice program, as well as the budget. My presentation was direct and honest. I reminded them of the reality of last year's loss of state equalization aid and the unknown of this year's state aid. We're designing next year's budget without any idea of what our state aid is or will be. The formula is broken on the state's part. Everyone knows it. I was encouraging our faculty to contact our District 20 legislators, Senator Cryan, Assemblyman Atkins, Assemblywoman Quijano. I'll also be sharing that with our PTOs for both Harding and Brearley in the coming weeks. Anyone who can help contribute their voice to fixing the funding formula is appreciated. So I'm hopeful that our voices will be heard and action will be taken to ensure that our Kenilworth students receive their fair share of state funds. I encourage everyone to contribute their voices to support the kids of Kenilworth. In other news, I direct your attention to Resolution 22, which is my recommendation to hire Brearley's head football coach. Coach Elliott Platt rose to the top of a very competitive pool of coaching candidates, going through 3 rounds of interviews with various stakeholders. The final round was with me. He spoke passionately about how football is more than a game. It's about developing young adults with grit, about trusting your teammate, about commitment and dedication. This coach is eager to engage with our parents. He's eager to engage with our youth programs, and I found him to be an upstanding individual committed to Brearley and committed to Kenilworth. So if approved, we'll be rolling out introductions to players and parents in the coming days and weeks as we prepare for an exciting 2025 season. Finally, a couple of reports are at the in your packets. Resolution 27 is an HIB that you're voting on from December that we reviewed in January. So that's Resolution 27. In your packets are 3 new HIB investigations that emerged in the month of January. You'll see 2 are from Brearley, 1 was from Harding. So you'll see those details in your HIB information. All 3 of those were founded HIBs. Which then transitions me into the presentation up on the screen. Twice a year we have to present the School Safety Data System Report, SSDS as it's called. We have 2 periods. Period 1 is the first half of the year. Period 2 is the second half of the year. So tonight I'm presenting out the Period 1, first half of the school year results. You'll see the yellow bar on this chart is the data from the same time period in 2022-2023. The blue bars are 23-24 and the green bars are 24-25. So the current data is the green. Happy to show that most things are trending lower as we look at HIBs, weapons, substance, vandalism, violence. you'll see that our data is trending down, which are all good signs. So give you a second with that one. I like to see those trends overall. The next slide is the number of trainings or programs that we are implementing. Those first two, again, the green are current data. Yellow is 2 years ago, blue is last year. You do see some of our restraints are up there in that middle. Some people might ask, to what do we attribute all of this? We are doing a lot of work in this area with school discipline, with social emotional learning, with harassment, intimidation, and bullying trainings with our students. You have a whole list of efforts, initiatives, events, and things that we're doing in the schools to make sure that we're combating inappropriate behavior or inappropriate language or inappropriate actions of students in our schools. From assemblies to initiatives like the Week of Respect, Red Ribbon Week. We have a lot of work that we put into new student orientations, new student mixers. We have kindness weeks. We have all sorts of things that are happening, whether it's our student assistance counselor, our school counselors, our behaviorists, our case managers, our teachers. They're all engaged in this, and they know that this is an important component because kids need to feel safe and they need to feel welcome at school before they can engage with the learning. So that's a big component of what we do. And I think some of the trends that we're seeing lower, partly it's a result of we've emerged post-pandemic. We saw a big spike in incidences after the pandemic because students, some of them just kind of forgot the norms of school. So behaviors went way up post-pandemic, and now we're seeing them come down as a result of the familiarity with school routines and such, as well as the efforts that our school staff is putting forth to address these issues. Finally, there's a discipline report in your packet. There's an enrollment report and a residency report, as always. Are there any questions about the HIBs, the SSDS, or anything else that I've covered?
Do I want to take a moment or so to look through before we move on, see if you have questions?
I'm good.
That concludes my report. Thank you very much.
No questions?
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Seeing that there's no questions, we'll now move on to report of committees, review of resolution, and board discussion. Up first, facilities and negotiations, Mr. Ladati.
Okay, so I know Mr. Holzart's gone, but I want to thank him just for his presentation. Is to accept the report on, that's resolution number 7. The Facilities and Finance Committee starts a review, as Mr. Ganella and Mr. Davies spoke, on 2.5. We reviewed the Harding curriculum and instruction budgets. Really, a lot of the focus was on textbooks and professional development. We will continue the budget process tomorrow. We'll be reviewing guidance, special education, and the athletic budgets. On February 26th, the committee reviewed Phase 3, which is the SBA documentation. Again, these budget reviews are very detailed. They include informative sessions on the instructional programs with all the administrators. And then when we present the entire budget to the board, each administrator will come in here and present highlights from their budget. We're not going to ask them to go line by you guys, just the important items, maybe some of the more costly items that they're asking for and that the committee approved. The governor's budget address is scheduled for February 25th with state aid as a critical component of our budget. We'll be monitoring it closely. As you're aware, we saw a decrease in equalization aid in 25. The aid is directly tied to home sales in Kenilworth, which increased above the state average, which resulted in decreasing our aid. So the higher the houses go up per house, the less aid we've been getting, and that's kind of the flaw in the system. Getting back to our last month's dilemma with the sewer pipe collapse, that ended up costing us $35,000, but Mr. Ganella, through the insurance, we were able to recover $25,000 of that. And that's sort of what and again, Mr. Davies mentioned the ground staff did a great job getting us ready to open the school up, whether it was on the half a day. And going forward, I'm sure they'll continue to do a good job. So, for tonight, we have 11 resolutions for your considerations. Resolution 1 was the superintendent's report, which you just heard. The next 3 include the bill report and the financials and line item transfers. I perused the bills and the financials. I found no outliners, all to be in order. There were no line item transfers over our $5,000 cap. Resolution 5 and 6 are for field trips for the staff. They're all approved by the superintendent and administration. Payment to contractors for referendum work kind of matched up what was paid and the work was being done. They all seem to match, so I think that's good. The annual audit, Mr. Herzog just presented. Safety data system was, which goes over just, is that kind of part what you addressed, Mr. Davies, that report? Yeah, so I know there's a bunch of pages in there, and I think it was like 30, 40 pages of documentation of what covers in that report. Bullying, policy on bullying, athletic event conduct are some of the things, and other school event activities. 10 is the Horace Heyman Scholarship. Even though we've given out these $1,500 over the last 2 or 3 years, I think, which we increased from, I think they were originally $500, but at some point along the last 3 years, we moved those accounts to gain more interest, so we're able to give more money out to each of a senior. And that's for community service, trade and technical school, business, and general academics. And 11 is tuition reimbursement. I find them all to be in order, and I suggest you vote in favor of them. That's all I have. Oh, negotiations, want to touch on that? Really, there's been a little bit movement, but we're basically in the same report during closed session.
Anyone questions for Mr. Ladati on the resolutions or anything related to finance?
Just one question on that resolution 6, the top field trip that says it's going to Scotch Plains with 40 to 50 students and 1 chaperone.
Going to VOTEC school.
They're going to VOTEC to explore VOTEC options. So those are high school students who may be interested in VOTEC. They take our VOTEC bus in the morning.
Okay.
And then when they get there, they're on a tour with
They're
VOTEC.
monitored over there. All right, so it's not like a field trip.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ladati. We'll now move on to personnel and management. Mr. Haberford.
Thank you. There's 14 resolutions tonight. Resolution 12 is the acceptance of a retirement. Resolution 13 is a leave replacement. Resolution 14 is an updated leave replacement for a teacher in Harding. Resolution 15 is the approval of AM lunchroom aides for the 24-25 school year. Resolution 16 is the approval of paraprofessional aides for the 24-25 school year. Resolution 17 is a paternity leave of absence request. Resolution 18 is a 6-period additional teaching section. Resolution 19 is the approval of student teachers. Resolution 20 is the approval of co-curricular stipend positions for the 24-25 school year. Resolution 21 is the approval of athletic stipend positions. Resolution 22 is the approval of, aforementioned high school football coach approval, the stipend for that. Resolution 23 is the approval of payment of unused sick days. Resolution 24 is the approval of substitute staff. And then skipping to Resolution 31, somewhere here, is the acceptance of a resignation of a paraprofessional aide. Do you want me to read the policies now, Vince, or should we?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
And there are 2 policy resolutions, 28 and 29, that I'll read off, and then Resolution 30, which is a disciplinary matter. So Resolution 28 is a first reading for policy number P9163, which says, you're just reading the summary, right? Yeah. In May of 2024, the NJSIAA updated Spectator Code of Conduct to require that all member schools adopt a policy regarding spectators in interscholastic games and events. If a spectator violates a code of conduct, the penalties increase progressively. Requirements of the policy include immediate removal from the event, disciplinary measures, including suspension from future events, an educational component for the individual who violates the policy, and an appeal process, and posting of the requirements of the policy. And then Resolution 29 is the adoption of Policy P5512, harassment, intimidation, or bullying. Is that-
First page.
And that one says, because the memorandum of agreement with local law enforcement has changed, our HIV policy must change. Specifically, if an investigation into harassment, intimidation, or bullying involves law enforcement, and the law enforcement investigation requires a pause or stay on the part of the school must yield to law enforcement. The pause/stay must be communicated to the parent or guardian. And last but not least, Resolution 30 is disciplinary matter number 3. Whereas the superintendent of schools has placed student number 2028301 on a long-term suspension, and whereas this recommendation is based on the student's violations of student code of conduct, and whereas the parents have waived their right to a formal hearing before the board regarding long-term suspension in accordance with NJSA 18A 37-2 and NJAC 6A16-7.3, and whereas the board has reviewed the evidence and information presented by the superintendent, and whereas the board finds that the charges are sustained, now therefore let it be resolved that in accordance with NJSA 18A 37-2 and NJAC 6A16-7.3, the board hereby upholds the superintendent's recommendation that student number 2028301 be placed on a long-term suspension from David Brearley Middle High School from December 19th, 2024 to February 12th, 2025. And that is it.
Keeps going.
Oh, it does?
Right after.
Oh,
the
sorry.
further-
Yeah. There's more. Be it further resolved that student 202-83001 shall be ineligible for readmission as of February 13th, 2025, provided that all preconditions established by the administration are met by the student and the guardian, at which time the student will continue receiving home instruction until the IEP process is finalized.
Eligible.
Should be eligible,
Eligible.
yes. Sorry.
It's okay.
The student shall be eligible for readmission.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Anyone have questions for Mr. Haberther on anything with personnel management or anything with policy review?
Thank you.
Okay. At this time, we will now move on to curriculum and instruction. Mr. Ferrara.
Good evening. On the agenda tonight is 3 resolutions. Resolution 25 is NJ DOE QSAC equivalency application. Resolution 26 is the appointment of a new doctor, neuropsychologist. I still butchered it. Resolution 27 is the HIP report for December 2024. And that's it for curriculum.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Ferrara? Okay, seeing that there's none, we'll now move on to old business. Anyone have anything to add under old business? I would like to add my weekly or monthly old business. Please continue to review the Friday folder. Visit our website and our social media pages. The superintendent posts all types of information about supports, events, referendum business, and communication with the leadership teams. Please use those resources. They're put together for the community. Anything under new business? No? Okay, at this time, we will now open up the meeting to the public for comment. Can I get a motion to open up the meeting to the public, please? Second?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Ferrera, seconded by Mr. Haberther. All those in favor of opening the meeting to the public for comment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Mr. Ganella?
Public comment will now be a limit for the public to speak at the Board of Education meeting to 5 minutes per person, unless prior permission has been granted by the Board of Education to extend time pursuant to BOE bylaw 0167. For the record, when you approach the podium, please include your name and address prior to making your comments.
Is there any public that would like to comment? Please step up at this time.
Carmen Bucco, 338 North 18th Street, Kenilworth. I wanted to say real quick, I'm sorry I was not here for the induction to the new board members as well as the previous board members. I wanted to say congratulations on a very well-run race. You have a task at hand, and I'm sure the town is definitely looking forward to what the school board is going to do in the future. Mr. Davies, Mr. Ganella, and Dr. Panici, I would like to sit with you. It will be coming out that I am running for assembly because it is disrupting our students, this whole matter with the school funding. It's something that needs to be handled in the business way. So if I can reach out to you guys, I'd like to ask you some questions so we can move forward and get you this funding that you need. Just because our house is increased does not mean that you should be penalized. So thank you very much, and again, congratulations. Look forward to seeing you all.
Thank you.
Sharon, contact information.
Yeah, Mr. Bucco, I'll make sure you get my contact information. Yeah, sounds good, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment at this time?
Hi, Joey Grimaldi. I've been here before. I want to know how come David Brearley doesn't have a rifle or pistol shooting team. I know it may be something that's like, oh, what is he asking for that for? But I listened to a podcast, Gun for Hire radio podcast. It's been going on for about 15 years. The two podcast hosts are Anthony Calandra and Sandy Berardi, and Anthony is a master firearms guy. He knows how to teach people. He knows how to shoot. He was a competitive shooter himself for a while, and he also owns the Woodland Park Gun for Hire range up in Woodland Park. Now, I'm not here plugging his gun range, but I am a Second Amendment advocate. I shoot myself. I like shooting, pistols and rifles. It's fun. It's great for people, men and women, self-defense, but also as a competitive sport. I don't compete myself. I'd like to eventually, but it teaches you discipline, teaches you gun safety. You learn the respect of the firearms, and unfortunately, Anthony and Sandy, they've spoken about it a time or two. When they were kids, when they were in high school, they would bring their 22 rifles. If they were on the shooting team, they would bring them, put them in the school lockers, lock them up, or they would be locked in their vehicles out in the high school parking lot, and no one was doing any mass shooting or crazy stuff like that. There had to be a different mindset and a different culture, and we shouldn't. The culture we have now with violence and school shootings is very bad for everyone and society. We should I would like to see us go back to that culture where the rifle is for a sport and not to kill anyone, and as a discipline. And I do. This is a newsletter that I get. It's news and briefs, and it's all about firearms, the laws. There's ranges in here. There's the shooting sport stuff. If any of the board members want to take this, you could have it, read it, see if you could find a reason to maybe start up a rifle and pistol team in Greerly and throughout the school system. I don't want to shoot anyone. I don't want to kill anyone. I want to have firearm protection, but also for recreation and sports. Often in the ports, I'll be shooting, and the guy next to me, he says,
Mr.
"Hey."
Grimaldi, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you've
Okay.
got 5 minutes. I'm sorry. Thank you for your comments.
All right.
Thank you.
I think it's against the law in New Jersey to have guns on school property.
Yeah,
anywhere.
schools
So
can't-
that's why
I
there's
mean-
I don't think there's any gun clubs or any teams in New Jersey schools that have
Well, yeah.
gun clubs.
We participate in the NJSIAA, which is what we were talking about earlier. They don't recognize gun or pistol shooting as an interscholastic sport. So because that's if you want to campaign with them, I think that might be a next step. But the NJSIA doesn't have any statewide pistol teams, so that would not be something that we could do. But in terms of school safety, I am proud to say that our school district, I can't think of a safer school district based on the amount of work that our school safety team does, as well as our law enforcement in our community, between our resource officers and the Kenilworth Police Department. I do have to say that we are quite a safe environment. But in terms of the pistol club, that would have to be an NJSIAA sanctioned event and sport, and I don't see that happening at this point. Fencing, though, is still a sport.
And yet, another thing wrong with New Jersey, their gun laws. But if anyone would like to pick this up just to educate themselves.
Thank you. Any other public would like to comment at this time? Please step up.
Randy Lovechuck, 79 Park Drive. Trying to make this a monthly thing for you guys. I appreciate you guys listening to me. Last month I came up with, I guess you could call it 3 complaints. And after the meeting, Mr. Davies reached out to me. We exchanged information. And not to discredit you, but I thought it was going to be one of those like, oh, I'll get back to you later type things and never get back. And to surprise, Mr. Davies was right on an email with me, which turned into a face-to-face meeting in the building. He spent a good hour with me, answering every question that I had. It was a great meeting. If anybody from the town has any questions about what's going on here, there's your source. He's got the open door policy, and I really didn't expect that, and to my surprise, it went really well. Open-minded about everything, and I really appreciate it as a parent of 2 kids in the school system. If more people took that same approach, I think the communication between the public and the that being said, the one thing that's, I'm going to be a thorn in your side is about the parking situation. Again, pulling up, the back parking lot was pretty much empty. A dozen cars parked in the fire lane tonight. Something's got to be done about this because it's really a danger to anybody inside the building that nothing is being done about it. If it is, I'm not aware of it, but I really think that whoever makes the call between here and the loop over at Harding, whether it's putting notes on the cars, if you guys need me to do it, I'll do it. But you know, the public needs to know that they can't park in a fire lane, even though it's not marked properly. I know that it's gonna be marked, and that comes with due time because of the weather out there, but God forbid something happens, nobody's gonna listen to that excuse that we couldn't paint because it's been cold or wet or raining or snowing or whatever it may be. So, but thank you very much for the time you spent with me. Really, the parents need to do the same thing that you and I did, and, you know, it might take a lot of your time away, but it was very helpful to me, and I spread the word to a bunch of the other parents as well, and they were like, oh, what do you do to be able to get a one-on-one? I'm like, went to a meeting, that's it. So, no special treatment, but it was very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Levituk. I appreciate that support. Also, just we met with the police last week. We are working on getting new signage, and I'm going to be sending an email out to the community about the parking expectations. I'm just waiting on the exact wording on that signage. I don't want to be, I'm not a law enforcement officer. I don't want to say the wrong thing in my email to the parent community without knowing exactly the wording of those signs. So I'm just waiting to hear back from the police before I send out the specific wording so that we can make sure that everyone knows where they should be parking, what they should be doing, how they should not be leaving an unattended vehicle in a fire zone, those types of things. So it's still a work in progress, but yes, thank you.
That's probably mostly the wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
It's been going on since the school opened for the most
Yeah,
part.
no, but I'm,
We
yeah.
squashed it for quite a while. where we
Well,
did a
yeah,
little bit.
I mean, I've been on the board I've been here since 1989. My first meeting was, what are we gonna do about parking around Harding School? So it's an ongoing situation for 30-something plus years, so. But we keep improving and trying to do things, so. We built that whole lot over at Harding to alleviate a lot of those concerns. So we keep modifying, and we will continue to modify.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public? Would you like to comment at this time? No?
Make a motion to close to the public.
Second? Motion made by Mr. Ladati, seconded by Mr. Haberthor. All those in favor of closing the meeting to the public, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion's carried. The meeting is now closed to the public for comment. Mr. Ganella, are we ready to do the roll call of resolutions, please?
Yes, we have 31 resolutions on the agenda. Do any of those need to be voted on separately?
No?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Number 27, okay. Any others need to be voted on separately? Okay. So this will be for resolutions 1 through 31 on the agenda, excluding number 27. Finer.
Yes.
Crincoli.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Ferrara.
Yes.
Haberthor.
Yes.
Cardina.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
Panici.
Yes.
Motions carry unanimously. And this is for number 27 on the agenda. Biner.
Yes.
Crincoli. David.
Yes.
Ferrara.
Yes.
Haberthor.
Yes.
Cardina.
Yes.
Ladati.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
Panici.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ganella, is there a need to go into closed executive session this
Yes,
evening?
there is.
Can I have a motion?
Yes.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Haberthor, seconded by Dr. Concoli. All those in favor of going into closed executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Ganella?
Okay, the Board of Education, be it resolved, the Board of Education meet in private session from which the public shall be excluded to discuss the topics of personnel, a KEA grievance, and negotiations, secretary's clerk aides unit, which private discussion is being held pursuant to section 7B and 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act. The matters under discussion will be disclosed to the public as soon as final decisions and made and voted upon.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ganella. Thank you, everyone, for attending. We're now going to go into closed session, please. Thank you.